Hexyz Force is a turn-based JRPG released in North America around May 2010 for the PSP. What's a little different in this game than most is that you have the option of playing two different characters from the beginning. You can play as the Cerulean Knight in the Rosenbaum Empire, Levant, or the cleric serving at the Great Temple of Palfina, Sicilia. Each character has a different backstory, you start out in different locations, and you progress differently throughout the game, oftentimes running into the other character. I like the idea of playing through the world from a different perspective. That sounds like a great idea to add replay value to the game. Unfortunately, it doesn't. They made so many mistakes and poor judgments in design that the game is screaming potential, but falls short in every single way. The game is about 10 to 12 hours long for each of your two characters. That's pretty short for JRPG standards. What the game has to accomplish now is to put enough oomph into the short gameplay that it makes it valuable. What they do instead is recycle the same locations over and over and over and over again. There's really only about 6 places that you travel through. The game makes you go to each of these locations multiple times. Some places you'll end up going through 5 times before the end of the game. You'll meet up with your hero counterpart of the series once every hour or so to discuss what's been going on, and where you're headed next. By the time you complete the story of, let's say, Levant, you will have no interest in playing through Sicilia. You already know what's happening in her story, and you know she's going to go through the same exact places as you went through. What had a ton of potential for replay value turns into a game where you have no interest in ever playing again. The battle system is turn-based. It's a little bit different than what you're used to. It's a little complicated to explain without actually playing the game. I'll try my best to just briefly summarize it. You have multiple weapon slots for Ragnafax and Spirifax. You have your main Ragnafax weapon, which you can put points into in order to get new skills or increase the damage value of it. Then you have basic Ragnafax that you just have basic skills attached to them like Slash. The Spirifax are basically additional weapons that use durability and eventually break from your inventory. Then there's Force Points, which you can put into your main Ragnafax weapon, as I said, or you can use it to heal your entire party after a battle. Oh, and of course there's things called aspects, which play like an elemental system where it can add or reduce damage depending on the sequence in the battle. It sounds pretty complex, but it's not. Why? Because most of that stuff I just mentioned doesn't even matter. You can fly through the game without ever utilizing the aspect system, the Spirifax, and most of the Ragnafax. You simply just use your main weapon, you upgrade it, and you occasionally heal your team with your force points. This is what I did for the entire game without ever reassessing my approach to battles. The game is so easy that you don't need to be tactical. Not only are the battles easy, but you can actually speed up the battles by pressing a button on the PSP, and what could have been a 3-minute battle turns into a 10-second battle. You never have to pay attention to what the hell you're doing ever again. The first 20 minutes of Levant's story started with a pretty big bang. I thought to myself, this sounds like it's going to be a great story. It starts out with betrayal, racism, and a genocide. It had so much going for it. But after that first 20 minutes, the game puts that good stuff on the back burner and just immediately jumps into a different overarching story, and you're never engaged in the game again. The developers even tried to create 2 different sides of the world, the lustrous side and the dark side. The game is so fast, and the overworld map is so condensed, that there's literally no magic in this idea of light and dark. In a bigger and better game, this transfer from a lighter world to a darker one could have been really thematic, but in this game, it's another fail. These are just some of the big things that I was really frustrated in. Now I'm going to just throw in a bunch of the small things that really bugged me about this game. The walk speed is too slow, the bosses look like normal enemies and are way too easy. The mimic treasure chests that you have to fight to get the treasure in the chest, they are the same exact difficulty through the entire game. Quake damages flying enemies. You get too much force points after a battle that healing your team is non-consequential. There's barely any NPCs in the entire game, and it makes it feel really naked. Every time you clear out a heal spot next to a save spot, it has to re-explain to you what it is. Oftentimes in a dialogue sequence between 2 characters, their portraits remain on the screen, and it's harder to tell which character is talking and which one isn't. The minimap needs a compass. You'll oftentimes need to look at the larger map to acknowledge which way you're headed. How hard was it to include an N for north? The dialogue is super dry and boring. The hit points of your characters aren't viewable while you're being attacked or while you're attacking. I haven't even scratched the surface of how frustrating this game was. It had so much potential. It's a story that could have been epic, but resorted to cliché, a battle system that was really complex, but completely unnecessary because it was so easy, and a light and dark world that could have been atmospheric, but instead it was just really irrelevant and casual. I don't recommend Hexyz Force. It's a horrible game. I had a really difficult time pushing myself to play this game, and it was only 11 hours per character. I give this game a 4 out of 10.